Hello. They're not just Marvel, all sorts of geeky references, but we'll see how it goes. It's a bit of a step change in my talk because we'll be talking about more keywords and more about how people search rather than the PR side of it. Um, so I could tell you this is usually the part where I tell you a bit more about myself, but I thought this is an AI search talk, so I asked AI. AI says that I am a British Bengali poet and writer, which is true. I am. I work in the digital tech space. I'm a digital strategist, accessibility advocate, and founder of Q and Co Digital, which is essentially around making digital experiences more human. I won't read word for word, don't worry, um, especially because a lot of it is around my poetry rather than digital, but that's a point for me to fix rather than talking about it here. So then I was like, this is so interesting. If this is what AI has gathered about me, what does it think I look like? So this is what AI thinks I look like, based on the description that is taken off my photos and or descriptions of what other people apparently that are have the similar interest also look like. It's really interesting because I've told, we've spoken about biases, we've spoken about all of that. I'll be touching on a lot of the topics already spoken about. But essentially, what that means is I do some cool stuff, I work with some cool people, but that's not what we're here. We are here. Oh, and I asked, would you get Karina to do this talk? And AI has validated that yes, I am a good person. Um, so I feel like that's really all I needed in my life today. But we're here to talk about this idea of keywords. And the starting point is what if I told you keywords don't matter anymore? Because for 20 years, SEO has kind of been built on this idea of keywords. And today, this world isn't that. We're not optimizing for keywords, we're optimizing for questions. And even more, we're optimizing for whether AI repeats our answers. And I think this is really important because people, and as we'll go through, people aren't searching the way we thought they were searching. So old SEO, or rather old ways of searching, was based on keywords, backlinks, and rankings. And that basically meant because people were searching for best CRM London, best pizza NYC, etc. So success meant ranking number one and owning the SERP. But behavior has shifted because users now ask full questions in natural language for where's the nearest pizza near me delivering in 20 minutes? What is the best CRM for a 10-person agency in London? And generative AI gives an answers instantly, so there is no need to click through. So what you have is the evolution. We've spoken about SEO has evolved. This is the evolution of SEO, I guess, to GEO. I'm sure you all know GEO if you don't know, because someone asked me, what does it actually stand for? And I was like, what? That's a good point. I think I know. A generative engine optimization, essentially. So the keyword era focused on keyword stuffing, meta hacks, and the success was ranking for exact terms. The link building era was focusing on backlinks and domain authority, or rather, who is it that linking to you? In our content era, we are on blogs, long form guides, inbound content, volume of optimized content was the success. And semantic era, a success meant matching meaning, not just words. And now we're kind of supposedly in this generative. I think we're kind of in between the two, but we're going to a generative GEO. What success becomes, does AI repeat our brand in our answer? We've heard this before. The new battleground is in rankings. It's citations essentially in AI answers. So if AI doesn't mention you, you don't exist in that buying journey. We've spoken this idea of zero click. New searches particularly has jumped from 56 to 69% in 2025, according, I can't even read my own, according to the New York Post. So then you have this idea of funnels, and someone was asking around funnels, and this is really interesting because we all know the customer journey. We know this, the stages of it: awareness, consideration, decision. But with Gen AI, they kind of collapse into one single box of text. So when I ask Gemini or Perplexity, what is the best project management tool for small teams? Where's the best CRM? I don't get a journey. I get an answer. I get a short list, often, and recommendations right away. So that means the middle of the funnel, the long nurture path that we often had as marketers to play with, is gone. So SEO's job has shifted from getting people into the funnel into winning trust in the very first answer. I know, I did tell you. So AI doesn't care about keyword density. It does care about trusted sources. And that trusted source is Reddit, Wikipedia, reviews, PR mentions. So SEO has to expand beyond just the website, and we need to build an ecosystem, essentially, of credibility. Whereas old content strategies were built around the keywords, now we're going more into the articles and the PR side of things. So Best CRM London meant we created a landing page and optimized H1's metadata and backlinks. But today, we're not typing in keywords, we're typing in conversations and natural questions. So our content has to shift from questions to answers. So that means we have to design for conversational FAQs that directly match our user intent. We have to use answer-first structures, so don't just bury the insight in paragraph 8 or 15. Lead with that. And semantic clusters, which means connecting related questions to AI to seeing you a bit more authoritatively. In other words, SEO is no longer page building, it's problem solving. And the brand that solves the problems in the most clear, structured, answer-first way will be the brands that AI engines trust enough to surface. Here's where the Marvel comes in. So in Marvel, there's this idea of the infinity gauntlet, which means that if you collect all jewels, you have conquered all. And that is exactly what we need to do. So because AI doesn't just read your blog, it assembles answers from all modalities. So think of the infinity gauntlet, which each jewel has power, but together we can create unstoppable visibility. The 5 jewels now fuel AI visibility are text, video, audio, images, and social signals. If you're missing one jewel, say no transcripts for videos or no structured product listings or images, you are leaving power at the table. Multimodal content ensures that your brand isn't invisible in generative responses. So we as marketers have to stop treating non-text assets as secondary because they are now the primary inputs to AI. We've heard a little bit about schema, and schema is a bit, I've always found it a bit scary sometimes. But what it means is the schema, the FAQ, the markups, the knowledge graphs that we have become machine-readable clarity. They're not just nice to have snippets. They now define how AI understands your brand. So when you have schema, they become the translation layer between human language and machine understanding. And content that speaks to people, content speaks to people. That's how we're used to developing it. But schema is the one that's speaking to algorithms. So in the AI world, isn't just metadata, it's brand definition. And why it matters now is generative AI isn't just reading pages, it's mapping entities and it's mapping the relationships between those pages. And structured data that connects your brand to your topics, to your authors, to your proof points becomes really important. And this is what LLMs use to ground answers and decide which brand to trust. So without it, your content is invisible to the graph. High quality, but unreferenced. Advanced implications mean, so for technical SEO, data interoperability becomes really important now. It's less about crawl budgets, but more about semantic legibility. And schema also helps Google Knowledge Graphs, OpenAI's and Anthropic's indexing, and even your own internal AI assistants. So essentially, think beyond one platform. Structured data is cross-ecosystem currency. And for agencies, that means that you have a new strategic advantage with schema literacy. You can move from apply schema templates to design entity models. So you can have custom schemas, authors, insights, data, frameworks, event, experts, whatever, to build the mini knowledge graph for each client, linking pages, people, topics, and treating structured data as a representation strategy, not just a SEO tactic. Metrics, we're going to come into metrics in a bit, but if you have any digital marketer will say, great, how do I do that? How do I measure? Because old SEO, we were pretty comfortable with it. We had rankings, impressions, clicks, but in GAO, we're measuring AI citation frequency, answer, share of voice, author signals, freshness, multimodal coverage. So again, the question becomes, how is AI repeating our story? And how the heck do we track that? Well, if GA4 is becoming increasingly blind because of zero-click answers and funnel compression, then we need new measurement frameworks. And here's how to think about it. If with AI, citation frequency is essentially how often your brand or domain is quoted or cited inside AI-generated answers, overviews, perplexity. This is kind of the equivalent of ranking in the GEO era. And the tools, there's loads of emerging platforms like Wix AI, SEO dashboard, SEO clarity, perplexity trackers. We've spoken about a couple already, or custom scraping of AI outputs. Answer share of voice is essentially the percentage of generative answers in your category where your brand appears. The competitive benchmark here is, are you cited more than your rivals? Trust and authority signals mean tracking domain authority in a citation flow and PR footprint, but with a goal of AI trustworthiness, not just backlinks. Content freshness index, essentially the measure here is a percentage of pages refreshed in the last 3 to 6 months, frequency of the updates, structured data presence. Multimodal's coverage score is, are your competitors ahead in audio and video coverage? Engagement and brand lift, which is AI driven, is basically a proxy for the dark funnel influence of AI visibility. Because since clicks don't happen, you need to measure downstream brand impact, direct traffic lift after being cited in AI, brand search volume, social mentions, and sentiment changes. And you need to essentially revenue attribute them by A/B testing. So A/B test campaigns optimized for AI citation versus classic SEO. And I think the answer will kind of sometimes surprise you. I worked with a healthcare charity, and what they did this massive work on, working with Coronation Street. I can probably say the answer. Dementia UK work with Coronation Street, and they were like, we've partnered up with them. We've got the PR. We're going to do the story for a character that gets dementia. Then Alzheimer's Society came in and said, yeah, this is such a really important topic. They went on PR. So now when you go on AI and you search it, it comes up as Alzheimer's Society has partnered for Dementia for Coronation Street, purely because they were in PR. So it becomes really important. And I wouldn't recommend that tactic to anybody. You'll annoy a couple of marketers. So the new tools are emerging. SEO rankings, Surfer, Rank Prompt, AI zip tie, and they track citations, share of AI answers, and every SEO stack has to include this AI visibility tracking, essentially. So here's the reality. Brand A appears in AI answers, so they are trusted, visible, and shortlisted. Brand B is absent, invisible, and erased. So let's take trainers. If you ask Google's AI Perplexity, what's the best running shoes for marathons in 2025? The AI might surface answers like Nike, Adidas, Brooks. But if you're ASICS and you're missing, you're effectively being erased from the shortlist. That's not a real example, by the way. FYI. No. I always have to kind of caveat when I mention brands. It's the same for B2B. If you ask Gemini what's the best CRM for small agencies, if HubSpot and Zoho are turning up in AI overview, but Salesforce doesn't, it's simply out of consideration for the audience. So then geo is the new competitive background, and it becomes a winner takes most dynamics. The organizational impact is it's no longer a silo. It requires content for questions, PR for authority, tech for structure. So again, this cross-functional SEO is what makes you survive. AI downgrades stale or biased content, so it promotes fresh fact checks updates. So SEO always has to be an always-on credibility engine. Last marvel in reference, I promise. So users now ask, what is the cheapest eco CRM that works with Slack? So the SEO must target conversational phrasing, follow-ups, keyword list becomes question maps, SERPs are fading, essentially, and generative assistants are the new entry point. Gemini, ChatGPT, Perplexity become the new Google, essentially, and SEO becomes optimizing your footprint across multiple AI ecosystems, including Google. So if you don't have no citations, you have no visibility, and your traffic and your pipelines shrink. So GA4 will show you less, and brands that delay will pay more in ads that cover up the gap. Early movers is kind of what shape what AI knows about their category. So then being that may mean that you have the dominant share of voice, and you can build a flywheel effect. You're trusted, you're cited more. So you're asking, great, Quarina, you've said all of this, but how do we do that? Well, you start by auditing your current AI visibility. You invest in authority signals, reviews, PR, third-party mentions. You structure your content with schema and multimodal metadata. You measure citations and answer share, not just clicks. And you adapt budgets from keyword SEO to geo outcomes. Again, these are my top 3 takeaways. So SEO has evolved from keywords to questions to citations. So now visibility becomes being named in AI answers, not just ranking. Metrics have to shift from clicks to AI citation share, and authority and structure and multimodal are the new SEO levers. So you need to act early or risk vanishing. The choice is ours. The future of SEO isn't just what we say, it's what AI repeats. So our job is to make sure that our brand is always in that answer box, essentially. That's how you get hold of me, thank you. Or if you ask ChatGPT, that's how you get a hold of me.